Okay, throughout this DVD, I would like to show you how to do cage control. I'm going to show you how to control someone up against the cage with dirty boxing, takedowns, clinch work, and everything you need to know how to win a fight from the cage. Now, most MMA fighters need to learn how to work the cage. I go to some gyms, they haven't got a cage and they haven't got matted walls. So one of the aspects of their game plan is taken away straight away by not having any cage control work. So hopefully throughout this DVD I can show you how to work the clinch up against the cage. Now, you would normally start off in a clinch in the middle of the ring and then end up against the cage. Now, we also got to emphasise on our footwork when we're doing this. Now, as explained in an earlier DVD about the clinch work in the middle of the ring, when I clinch with Lee, I need to have my feet side by side. Now, we may be hustling, we may be tussling, we may be getting pushed against the cage, but I still want to have my feet side by side, because if I fight in the middle of the ring with my foot in front of the other, I'm going to be off balance. Lee can also drop down for a single leg takedown, and obviously I've lost the position. So, no matter how much the pushing and pulling, I need to have one foot side by side until Lee's back goes against the cage. Then I put one foot in front of the other between these legs. So just to reiterate, when we're standing striking, I've got one foot in front of the other. Whether you're orthodox or southpaw, obviously use your lead leg forward. Once I clinch, then I put one foot side by side. And then as soon as your opponent's back goes against the cage and you clinch him again, you put one foot in front of the other. So that is the rule of thumb when you're doing standing grappling with somebody in MMA. So now I've got one foot in front of the other between these legs. I've got an underhook and I've got an overhook. Now this is how I'm going to control somebody when I'm in a clinch position up against the cage. I've got one hand on the tricep, one hand around his waist. I'm putting all my pressure, and my shoulder is going to be pushing into his sternum stroke solar plexus to keep him tight against that wall. Now from here, I've got dirty boxing, I've got takedowns, and obviously I need to learn how to do a little bit standing clinch work. So I'm going to go through a little bit dirty boxing or show you how we can strike from here. Now, I do not want my head past Lee's shoulder. It needs to be on his shoulder at all times, or even under his chin. Most people like to be comfortable on the shoulder. As soon as I go past the shoulder down to here, two things is happening. One, I'm off balance, and two, I'm leaving my face exposed for the knee to come up. So make sure that your head is nice and high up on the shoulder, and then you will take control of him because you're the one who's pushing your force against him. So from here, what strikes do we have? I've got hammer fist to the thigh, we'll work up the body. I've got hammer fist on the thigh here, striking. Now you might think hammer fists are not that powerful and they're not going to do anything to his thigh because his thigh is big. But Lee has nerves, everyone has nerves running down the side of the thigh. And if you do a hammer fist nice and relaxed, you don't want to have a stiff hand like this. A stiff hand is not as strong as a nice loose hand. You want to be nice and loose and strike the thigh like that. Alright, from here I can take my lead leg away just for a split second and then put it back just so that I can strike the inside of the thigh. As soon as you hit it once, put it straight back down to the centre. I don't want to be doing this 2 or 3 times because again Lee will say that I'm starting to lose my balance, I'm not in the right position that I need to be in, and then he'll try and escape or turn me over. So from here I'm going to pull my leg back, keeping my weight, my pressure on my shoulder, keeping Lee tight against the cage. Then I'm going to strike the inside of the thigh. The reason I don't use my back leg is because if I use my back leg and try to come forward, in fact it's going to be very hard to do, I'm going to be off balance. This leg needs to be solid, it needs to be in the ground so that all my pressure is pushing against Lee. Now, so that's the thigh areas that we're going for. Now I'm going to come up and work for the body. Body shots here. Okay, then if I want to work the inside of his stomach, that's when we need to start doing tight clinch, which I'll show you later. So body shots here. Then we work up to the head. I'm pushing nice and tight, Lee is against the cage, and then when I'm ready, I relax just a little bit, smack, and straight back down. If I want to control him against the cage, I do not want to come back and start hitting and hitting and hitting, because he will eventually get away from you. I just want to do 1 or 2. Remember in that earlier DVD when I talked about the Atari game and the energy bar? This is where the energy bar factor comes in also. Every clinch shot that I give Lee, he will get more tired each time. So we've worked the legs, we've worked the body, we've worked the head. Now, we can also use elbows. If you're confident enough, you can drop down and throw an elbow at the side of the leg, but you have to be very, very confident to do that, and it does take a lot of practice because I am dropping my head down very low. Obviously, I only need a short, sharp, shock little elbow, which only takes about an inch of pressure to cut Lee. So I can just come up here nice and tight, little elbow, and then straight back down. Now this is all on my right hand side, on Lee's left hand side, because I need to keep my weight back here and push forward. If Lee pummels in and he goes to do the double underhook and I need to switch, then I need to also switch stance. Now that my head is on the left hand side, I need to put my right leg forward. So whenever you switch, whenever you pummel, you need to change legs as well as change head. Then again, it's exactly the same on this side. So we'll switch back over, switching the legs, switching the head, and now I'm back to here. So that is a little bit of the punches and a little bit of dirty boxing. So now I'm going to show you how to do knees from here. Like we showed earlier in the clinch control work, my hands do not want to leave Lee's body. I do not want to pull out and then grab. I want to slide my hand round, up his stomach, up his chest, and then grab the head. Never leave him. Two reasons. One, whenever there's a gap, he can escape. And two, whenever I leave a gap and we're now equal, he can strike me as well as I can strike him. So I don't want to leave a gap. So I've got a hold of Lee's tricep, I've got one under, one over, as explained earlier. I slide my hand, the back of my hand, up the stomach, up the chest, and then I grab the head. Once I've got the head secure, then I slide the overhand around, grab the head. Now I'm ready for strikes. Now again, like I said, if I automatically throw that knee, I'm off balance. So what I have to do is I have to bring my lead leg back just for that split second, strike, strike. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but when I was throwing the knee, I'm actually pushing my hips forward, all right? I don't want to just go up here, because if I just come up, sure, he will feel it, but I want to push my knee through Lee and into the cage. I've got to try and imagine that Lee's not there. So my hips need to be thrown forward. So they come up and then through. And if you do that with force, that is enough to take the wind out of any man. Obviously we've got headshots from there. So this time now I'm going to go straight up, but I'm going to go up high. And I still need to push my hips, but I'm not pushing them forward, I'm pushing them directly up. So from here, they're coming up into the head. Now, all depending whether you want to keep this guy against the cage or whether you want to break off and do some strikes. It depends what you do after you've thrown this combination of knees. So, if I've got a hold of Lee and I come up and I strike, and I'm a fighter who wants to be on my feet, I can throw the strikes, then I can break off and start striking. If I want to throw the odd strike, do a little bit dirty boxing, and then stay in the clinch, I get into position, I throw one knee, maybe it's two knees, and then I drop straight back into the clinch work. Alright, what I'd like to do now is just recap some of these strikes, just so that you understand exactly how to control somebody up against the cage. I have Lee nice and tight up against the cage. My shoulder is pushing on his sternum stroke solar plex. The reason I say sternum or solar plex, it depends how high your opponent is. I mean, Lee is a little bit smaller than me, so if I drop down to the solar plex, I'm going to be way too low. Okay, and hence if someone is a lot higher, you don't want to be trying to reach up to reach the sternum. So I've now got Lee nice and tight up against the cage. My left leg is nice in the middle of Lee's legs, pushing all my weight from my back leg. I've got one under, one over. We're going to start off with the thighs. Hammer fists. Now a hammer fist, a lot of people use a stiff arm and a hammer fist. Again, here's one of my analogies. When you ever see a gorilla attack someone, it never has stiff hands attacking like this. They're always nice and loose. A gorilla attacks with a hammer fist. Nice and loose arms. A medieval stick with a chain and a ball on the end with spikes. Why is there a chain? Why isn't there just a ball with spikes on the end, stuck on the end of a stick? because it gives that nice loose movement which creates more energy equals more power. So when I'm throwing a hammer fist, I don't want to have stiff, straight hands. I want to be nice and loose on the shoulders. I want to create more power. And I am aiming for the side of Lee's leg where he has nerves running down, and if I hit them hard enough, it will give him what we call a dead leg. Now we also got the inside of the leg. Now the inside of the leg, I want to start throwing knees. Now I can't throw my back knee for two reasons. One, if I throw my back knee without moving my front leg, I'm going to be off balance and I will fall over. So don't even think about the back knee. And then secondly, if I throw the back knee and I try to come up like this, Lee can also grab the leg a lot easier than what he can grab the front leg. So what I need to do is keep my weight nice and tight on the back, and then short, sharp, shock treatment movements inside of the thigh. I can come back and throw a big powerhouse if I want. Nothing wrong with that at all, but what you have to remember, if you pull that leg back, Lee is now free to move around here. So a lot of practice makes perfect. So nice short, sharp shock treatments. These strikes are not necessarily to hurt Lee, it's to settle for something. I can settle for a takedown, I can settle for more strikes up above with my hands. It's all just like a jab. A jab is not to hurt somebody when you're boxing. A jab is to open up other moves. And we will go on to that a little bit later. So for the leg, nice loose hammer fists, nice short, sharp inside knees.